What I want to talk about today is the NBA, the National Basketball Association, and the development of super teams. Um, Super teams have sort of taken over the NBA and are the new golden standard of a competing team, a championship team. Um, I'm Christian Childs, and I'm from Utah. I'm a lifelong basketball fan. I played basketball in high school. I've played competitively for many years. I come from a basketball family. Um, we all love basketball. We all love the NBA. We all watch the NBA religiously, particularly our team of choice, the Utah Jazz. And I'm going to get into the impact that super teams have on our home team, the Utah Jazz, and the NBA in general. I care about the longevity of the NBA and its sustained competitiveness and growth. It's important to me. It's a big part of my life. It's something I care about, and it's something I hope continues to improve. So, let's dive into the topic, NBA super teams. What I want to talk about is what a super team is, and when the NBA, the landscape changed and super teams were starting to get formed. I want to talk about the repercussions that super teams are having on the NBA. And I want to answer the question, are super teams ruining the NBA? There's a lot of talk out there that they are. A lot of different analysts, a lot of different writers, athletes, and casual fans like myself would say that it is having an impact. Some believe it is quite negative, and I want to talk about that. I want to give this presentation from my own point of view. I think it's a point of view that's shared by a lot of people. So, a super team, I guess that's a loose term, but it is what it sounds like. It's a team that's super. It's a team built around multiple superstars. A superstar is more than an all-star. You know, there's an all-star in the NBA, which is an official title. Superstar is not an official title, but everyone knows what a superstar is. A superstar is one that shines above all others. There's usually a handful of superstars in the league at one time. An example of a superstar would be LeBron James. He is known as the best player in the world right now, and he has been for quite a while. So that's what a super team is. It's a team that's built around many stars, and a lot of people think, and I would tend to agree, that the first super team really happened with LeBron James. He left the Cleveland Cavaliers, the team that drafted him, and he went to the Miami Heat. And there he joined with Dwayne Wade, another superstar, and Chris Bosh, another superstar who came down from Toronto. They all met together in Miami, and it was the first time something like that had really happened. People had a lot of expectations for that team. And they had never seen three superstars on the same team together. It was unheard of to that point. And they ended up winning 2 championships together. And then LeBron went back to Cleveland. Chris Bosh ultimately got injured, and Dwayne Wade has gotten a little bit old. So it really started with the Heat. And then since then, there's been some other teams to do it on different scales, and the one that really is dominating the conversation and has been for the last few years is the Golden State Warriors. The Golden State Warriors last year had 4 All-Stars in their starting lineup. Something that I don't know if that's ever happened, but it's rare if it has. Especially in the Western Conference where they are. The Western Conference is much more competitive than the Eastern Conference. there are just a lot better players in the West, and it's a lot more competitive in the West. So the next super team was the Golden State Warriors, and they had won a championship, and then they lost the next year to the Cleveland Cavaliers and LeBron James. And then that next summer, they signed Kevin Durant, who was widely accepted as the second best player in the NBA behind LeBron James. So him going there and joining this team of already all-stars, already a championship team, was absolutely unheard of. It's something that we haven't really seen before, and I think it was shocking to a lot of people that used to play the sport. They used to want to kill their enemies, not literally kill, but they wanted to beat them. And it was unheard of for someone to get beat by the Warriors the year before and then go join them. And since then, they've even gotten better. A few weeks ago, they signed an all-star center named DeMarcus Cousins, and he was coming from the New Orleans Pelicans, also in the Western Conference. So now their starting five is 5 all-stars. Their point guard, Steph Curry, he's won 2 MVPs. Kevin Durant has won an MVP. So they have 2 not reigning MVPs, but MVPs on their team. And then they have 3 other all-stars. They have who was widely accepted as the 3 best long-range shooters in the game: Kevin Durant, Stephen Curry, and Klay Thompson. So their team is absolutely ridiculously good. So I want to get into the repercussions, the side effects that these teams have on the NBA. I think the obvious answer is, all with a concentrated amount of superstars going to one team, it takes away from the competition with other teams. It used to be sort of like a team would have one really good player and then a supporting cast. If they're lucky, they would have 2 great players. Stockton and Malone in Utah, they were both all-stars, great players. But rarely do we see superstars all on the same team. And a lot of people have complaints with these super teams because they feel ruining the landscape of the NBA. I think the biggest side effect is the lack of competitiveness in the rest of the league. There's really only probably 4 teams that even have a chance of making it to the NBA Finals. And even with that, there's really only one team that's going to win it all, and that's the Golden State Warriors. So a lot of people feel that has ruined the competitiveness of the NBA, where it used to be really anyone's game. You could draft someone really good and build your team around them. You could trade for someone really good, and it used to be a lot more competitive. Another repercussion is for a team like the Utah Jazz that is a small market team compared to, the Lakers, the Celtics, the 76ers, the Heat, where they come from big cities, big economies, a lot of fans. A team like us has a hard time attracting stars like LeBron James, like Kevin Durant, like Kawhi Leonard. So really our only hope of being great is drafting a player who turns into a great player and holding on to him. And we've currently done that. We did that with Gordon Hayward. We made him an all-star, but he left for the Celtics. And we did that last year with Donovan Mitchell, who I think will be an all-star this coming year. So that's another major repercussion is smaller market teams like the Jazz, like the Grizzlies, like the Spurs, like the Pelicans. We have a really hard time competing with these super teams. It's almost impossible. I would say to an extent that super teams are ruining the NBA in a sense. It's taking away from the competitiveness, and it's giving cities with large fan bases less to cheer about if their teams can't get good. So in that sense, I do think that it's ruining the NBA, which is frustrating as a fan. I do think there are things that could be done to prevent this from happening and to change it a little bit. They've tried to put salary caps on teams so that they can only pay so much, but there's been ways that teams have gotten around that. I think another way, and it's happened in the past, is where the league just denied a trade from happening. Chris Paul was trying to go to Los Angeles Lakers. The league denied it. And, he went somewhere else. So I think those things could happen. I think there could be rules put in place to prevent these things from happening. I think that would be a good solution. And it would be my hope as a fan that the league commissioner and those that work with him would work on that solution to give these other teams a chance to compete, to give them a chance to win, to give their fans something to get excited about, and just overall improve the competitiveness of the league. I think that would be an absolutely great solution. I don't know exactly every way that looks like it, but I would just encourage the commissioner to look at making some changes. I'm sure he is, and I'm sure as fans there's things we could do to reach out and let our voices be heard. Thanks for tuning in to this discussion. I hope you learned more about what a super team is and my opinion on how it's ruining the NBA and what we could do to change it. And I hope to see you next time.